going to the heady heights of the Big Smoke.
Now with Sargent. Sargent gallops away. He's going to get his second.
Newcastle, last week they survived a classic cliffhanger.
Sargent, he's looking for three. He's going to get it.
Today they walked a tightrope, semi-final style.
Beautiful pass to Farah. The big man will score.
To advance, the Knights must overcome the Magpies.
Cuts out lane, Magpies, Farah.
Langmack, Gillespie, Farah, with their experience in finals football is almost unmatched.
Thomas down. Long ball away for Anderson. He'll score.
Welcome to sudden death football. West and Newcastle on the wide world of sports.
Jason Taylor, one of the season's leading point scorers, kicks off. And this semi-final is underway. The Knights bringing it back through second row forward, Boyd. Away in the number 5, in the headgear is Tony Herman. And another player in headgear, McCormick, is the 9, a dummy half. You'll see him there right through the day. And you'd expect him to make a lot of little scurries out of there. Sargent goes up. Langmack makes the tackle. No marker. Sargent didn't worry about it. He played it in the orthodox manner. McCormick takes it midway 22, halfway on 5. Here's the kick coming off the boot of young Rodwell. Thomas was felled as he tried to put some charge down pressure on. Alchin's faced with the problem of getting back into the field of play. He does. He avoids the line dropout. Takes the tackle 5 metres out from his line. Mark Bell.
They're great kicks by Newcastle because what it's doing, it's making West and their big forwards, some of them haven't played for a while, such as Linda and Thomas, they've got to turn, chase, and get back in a position to cart the ball back up. On the other hand, West have put the ball into touch, and that allows everyone a bit more time just to relax and get their breath back.
Alchin smothered there by Harrigan. Gillespie puts in a kick, but it's gone out on the full. Well,
and that's why front rowers don't kick very often.
that is something that David Gillespie doesn't get called on to do very often. But now the pressure goes back on Western Suburbs. Sargent scored 3 tries against Canberra last Sunday. Rodwell works right for O'Davis.
I think we'll continue to see Newcastle work away. Then they'll look to go to their back line with Michael Hagan, bringing in players from behind him, sending some decoy runners through. He's the ball player in the outfit. They've gone blind through Matthew Rodwell this time. He was looking for that second man play. Nobody arrived.
They're just 12 metres out from the Magpies line. The Knights now with Boyd. 5 tackles gone. They may go for the bomb. There it goes off the boot of Hagan. Pressure for Bell. Does well, and it'll come out to the 22 for the place kick restart.
There wasn't a great deal of pressure on Bell there, but I thought O'Davis was quite slow to react on the far wing for Newcastle. The chase wasn't as good as it has been on most of the kicks from the Knights.
Ball played by Terry Hill. This is Dimmock, 10 metres from the halfway line. Penalty against Newcastle. Something happened in the play of the ball. I get the impression that the marker was trying to milk the ball off the man playing it. Watch it here. Well, that's a very tough call on Newcastle. He actually penalised the marker for interfering with the man playing the ball.
That's exactly what the penalty was for, and it's the first time we've seen a penalty like that this season.
Here's a chance for Newcastle, for Western Suburbs, but Lytton is well tackled and put over the touchline by Adrian Brunker.
Well, a fancy play, and they took the chance down that blind side, but, you know, there was no option there for them. 0-0, 17th minute.
Rodwell servicing the scrum.
And it really defeats the purpose. Here's a penalty now to the Newcastle side for Western Suburbs up inside, or for not packing in correctly. But First tackle, Sterling. That's bad play, wasn't it, from West? A good, nice tap move, and it nearly worked.
Well, the only time that you can go over the sideline first tackle is a try situation.
No score after 18 minutes. The sudden death semi-final on the first weekend of the Winfield Cup. Sargent. Rodwell finds Harrigan. Thomas takes him head on. Linder and Gillespie coming in to assist. 39 tackles for Newcastle. West have been asked to do much more work.
And you see that Newcastle are controlling the ball a lot better than West at this stage. I think they're going to start to do something with it very shortly.
Boyd. He's right on the 32-metre line. McCormack. This is Mullane. Got away from two. Doesn't beat Joey Thomas. This is the last. Hagan pushes it through the hands. Glanville pushes it out for O'Davis. Centre kicks. Gets a bounce. Gets a try. Oh, superb effort. Robbie O'Davis. Marvellous stuff. That's a ripper of a try.
Great try to O'Davis. Did it all on his own in the end. Beautiful piece of individual work. A nice cut-out pass to him. Put him into a bit of space, but just the grubber through and had too much pace. They decided to run this ball out to the blind. This pass from Glanville's a good one. Not much space there, actually. The nice little kick in and the beautiful bounce. Too much speed for the Western Suburbs cover. 4-0.
And that try has been coming for a little while. It was great work from O'Davis. He got the ball in between Jason Alchin, who was quite deep at fullback, and the front line of defence. Very similar to the try scored yesterday by Illawarra and St George late in the game. Didn't appear to be anything on. And O'Davis made it happen all by himself. 4 tries for the season. He's been a real find for the Knights. And that was a brilliant piece of work to put the first points on the board in this elimination semi.
Peter, you come back to Western Suburbs in possession, 30 metres out from the Newcastle line, dropping it on the first or running into touch. 5 tackles later, Newcastle try.
Well, as I said, the only time that you can really go over the sideline first tackle is if you take the corner post with you. You've got to be that close. Western Suburbs weren't.
John Schuster. Third leading point scorer for the year. Way out on the sideline. 22 metres out. They don't come any tougher. Oh, shaving the edge of the upright. No goal for Schuster. Newcastle, after 20, lead Western Suburbs 4-0. These players that have been under an injury cloud are showing any drama from their injuries. Maybe Harrigan hasn't been as explosive as we've come to know him.
Well, he's got a good work rate. He's hit the ball up 7 times so far, Harrigan.
Newcastle with the ball just outside their quarter. McCormack, a converted centre halfback, playing hooker now. Glanville. Now Harrigan. 5 gone. Rodwell. This should go dead, and it does. So back to the 22 for the restart again, but very much Newcastle keeping Western Suburbs down their end of the ground. Sideline comment from the North Sydney captain, Tony Ray.
Ray, this breeze appears to be having more of an effect on the game than we thought it would. There's not much of a breeze, but Newcastle's kicking game has been far superior to Western Suburbs. Both sides love to play football down the other end of the field. Then they bring in their second phase football. I thought Newcastle were losing their way a little bit. They had Sargent and Harrigan standing wide in the attacking positions and couldn't get some points. So that try was vital to give them great confidence in their first start in the semi-final.
Willis goes away from dummy half as Bob Linder gets some help from one of the trailers in back play. Farrer a dummy half for Taylor. Langmack the centre ball for Bell.
It's a nicely worked play, that, but well read by David Mullane. There's Bell putting the kick across. Well, that's either going to go out on the full on the first bounce with no gain of territory, no pressure on the opposition. It will now be a Newcastle feed just outside their 22. Not much doubt they'll win this scrum.
Yeah, not good play from West. You know, Gillespie's put one out in the full now. That was a shocker there from Bell. Two things West haven't had this half is field position and possession of the football. And to get back into the game, they're going to need both. They play the game in their half, and when they're getting into Newcastle's half, doing nothing.
Knight's ball. Hagen stepping his way outside the 22. Brunker. Herman goes away from dummy half. Both he and McCormick made good ground out of the dummy half position, as McCormick does exactly that now. Sargent beats Thomas.
And put that down to the quick play of the ball, and that's another area that Newcastle are performing very well in, as Matthew Rodwell drills the ball in behind Willis. He does well. He lets the ball go into touch, only a metre out. And everything going Newcastle way at the moment, getting plenty of momentum. Sargent, a good run there, followed up by the good kick from Rodwell.
Yeah, those quick play the balls are hurting West, Pete, because they're a big pack and not the most mobile pack. And I'm just watching, they're not even getting back on side before the ball's being played. They are struggling in defence.
4-2 the scrums to Newcastle. Terry Hill folding into 5/8, particularly when the scrum goes down near their own line. 4-0 in favour of Newcastle after 24 minutes. And a half break made by Bob Linder. Alchin is the dummy half. Langmack the first receiver, Britt the second. Great tackle by Newcastle's Glanville. Alchin for Thomas. Taylor wide for Farah. Farah holds on. Tries to put it round the corner. It's play on for Bell. Tackled on the halfway mark on 6 more tackles. I just saw the referee out of the corner of my eye nullify the tackle count. Hill taken by Brunker. They lost 10 metres in that passage.
But it needed to be a good tackle for Brunker as well. They had plenty of numbers outside him. He did very well to wrap up the football. Western Suburbs going wide on every occasion possible. Now Darren Britt takes the ball up the middle of the ruck, and he's met by Sargent.
Taylor. Dimmick. Taylor, the run around. That makes the extras. Now Farah. 32 metres out. That's their pet play, Western Suburbs. Penalty to them. Well, they didn't want the penalty, looking at some of the gesturing that's going on out there.
No, but I think they'll take it. This was a beautiful piece of play from Jason Taylor to put Andrew Farah into a hole. He tried to get the quick play of the ball, and the Newcastle players, well, they were still trying to tackle him. They didn't realise he played the football, and they were the people penalised for interfering with the man.
They do those runarounds well, Sterlo, don't they? I think they're the best side in the competition as far as doing those runarounds are concerned. I think it's because Jason Taylor, he just slows the play up, got beautiful hands, and the players run to the holes rather than the player.
Well, you know my feeling about the runaround play. It's the simplest one in the game, but also the most effective, to the extent there's generally only one pass involved, and it puts pressure on the defence straight away. They have to make a decision as to which player they are going to take. If somebody makes a wrong decision, there is a hole there, and that's what happened on that occasion with Farah coming late.
Jason Taylor. 106 points for the season. Brought him in at number 8. Strikes it nicely. The touch judges haven't moved. Taylor gets first points for the black and whites. The Knights, they lead by 2 after 27.
This is Kyle White, a player known for big hits, and he's going to make an impact here, I think, in the 12 minutes leading into half-time.
That's him on camera, Kyle White. He was the Commonwealth Bank Cup Player of the Year in his last year in schoolboy football, and has spent a goodly part of the season out, having undergone a foot operation. Linder comes back, and I didn't like the way he propped at the defensive line.
No.
He may be feeling that hamstring.
He is struggling. I saw 5 or 6 minutes ago, just before he made half a break, that he was struggling out there. They had sent some players at him in attack, and he did struggle. I think that Linder is certainly being troubled by that injury problem, and well, they're probably close enough to half-time now to maybe carry him. Warren Ryan will be worried by that.
Well, he may be troubled with condition as well as his hamstring because he hasn't played for a month.
Alchin works it back to the right for Taylor. Godden right underneath it. Plays at the ball. That puts everybody onside. Normally, if you're in front of the kicker, you've got to stay 10 metres away from the man fielding the ball. But when they play at it, then everybody becomes onside. Herman taking a lot of the work away from McCormack. Ducking in off his wing, taking dummy half plays. This is McCormack. Loves to work. Right on the halfway. Rodwell sends Harrigan up the centre. 5 gone. Last tackle. Rodwell, that came off a Magpie player. Taylor fields it in an onside position. 25 out. From their own line, Thomas. Been out for 3 weeks with a groin injury. Formerly the captain of the Western Suburbs side. Alchin gets a short ball for Hill. On for Dimmick. And Dimmick heading for the ground in one heck of a hurry.
Paul Langmack as captain and Jason Taylor as the chief playmaker really need to take control out there for Western Suburbs. I thought the biggest advantage they had going into this game was the options that they would have available. A lot of times out there, the dummy half had looked, and nobody's been keen to take the football.
Been quiet Langers, Sterlo. He's only hit the ball up twice in the opening 30 minutes, and it's unlike him because he's normally involved in at least twice in every set of 6.
And, of course, he's one of their most experienced players out there. Has won grand finals before, so he knows what it takes to win these kind of football games. As Robbie O'Davis picks up his other winger, Tony Herman, who in turn keeps it alive to Brunker.
Brunker gets away from Langmack. He might be struggling, Langmack, as I see him clutching at his arm. Sargent.
There's Tony Herman, who stayed down after keeping that play alive.
McCormack dummies to the blind and goes the open. 78 tackles required by the Magpies. About 20% more from them than Newcastle. Glanville to play it. Half-time is 9 minutes away. Rodwell to Harrigan. This giant of a young man, they call him the Chief. Brunker tasted Origin football this year. Rodwell's with it. And again, he puts that kick in nicely, putting some pressure on the winger for Western Suburbs, Bell. Schuster makes the tackle on Bell, just out from the Magpies line.
It is very obvious that Newcastle have targeted Robbie O'Davis as their speed man on the kick chase. Got tremendous speed. We saw him score one of the best tries of the season against St George earlier this year with just sheer blinding speed. And he's done very well out there, putting a lot of pressure on Mark Bell.
Andrew Farrer heading over for a stint with the champion Wigan club. In 1993, Bob Linder to play it now. 5 tackles gone, the kick off the boot of Taylor. Rolls down to the quarterway line. Godden 4-2 in favour of Newcastle after 32. 12 metres on the Newcastle side of halfway. Herman. We go sidelines to Tony Ray.
Just watching the Newcastle side reminds me of our first experience at the corresponding time at the 1991 semi-final series with North Sydney. They look very tired. It is very hot at the stadium. The sun drains a lot of energy from you, but I can assure you that after half-time, once the shadows from the grandstand creeps across and the game wears on, you do tend to pick your energy levels up a bit, surprisingly enough, so I don't think they've got too much to worry about.
Well, Tony, in this position, as a captain, what do you say to your team if you can feel that there is a little bit of fatigue out there, not long before half-time?
I think the main thing is to cut down the errors so that you're controlling the game. They're doing it pretty right. They're kicking deep into the corners, and here we see Jason Alchin try and get out. Pin him down in here and keep control of this game, and everything's going right for them.
Well, Jason Alchin on the first tackle has gone over the sideline. So Newcastle will feed the scrum and they'll go immediately onto the attack.
Well, that's unbelievable. It's worth a dozen of the best, that running out into touch in the first. Unbelievable.
Hagan. Run around with Rodwell. Schuster was read well by Farah. They're 22 out on the first. They've got 6 tackles. This is the second for Godden. Again, reminding some of our regular rugby league followers that we're going around the nation on the 9 Network today. We just may explain some of the rugby league rules a little bit more fully during the telecast. Away now for Hagan, around the back for Rodwell, then on for Schuster. Here's a try, is it? Yes! No! No try! Robbie O'Davis denied by the touch judge.
And by Mark Bell, who got across. It looked like he'd been beaten. It was a great step from John Schuster on the inside to beat his man. Here's O'Davis going for the corner, pushed by Bell. Well, the touch judges ruled that he took the flag out before the ball was placed. It was a line ball decision. I can't argue with it. The crowd aren't happy.
Penalty goes to Western Suburbs.
Ray, are we right in saying that if you're touching the corner flag, you are in touch?
Certainly. And, of course, that corner flag is part of the touch-in-goal area. Watch it again.
No, it's try. He's got it down first, I reckon.
Well, the crowd have watched it on the closed-circuit replay, and they let go with one almighty moan. It indicated that they thought it was a try, and looking at our replay, I tend to agree with them. That was a tough call for Newcastle.
Well, it was a tough call for the touch judge and the referee. Like, they're very difficult. Have a look. I had a look at it on replay twice. I still can't make my mind up about it. I'm prepared to let that one run. The only reason the crowd reacted is I believe there are more Newcastle fans here than Western Suburbs people.
Jason Liddon to play it at 4 points to 2 Newcastle with 5 to go first half. Dimmick shows it for Taylor and then takes the tackle on the halfway mark.
Once again, it does show that this really is the danger period of the game. Late in the first half, the last 5, a little bit of fatigue setting in. Of course, yesterday we saw Alan McInday run in a try for Illawarra with only 50 seconds left on the clock. Crucial time. You must maintain your concentration. I don't think Bob Lindner did so on that particular occasion.
Oh, they're looking very, very tired, Western Suburbs. And this is a simple play, and Bobby didn't look where he was going to pass it and just flung one out. And this has given it to turnover. Newcastle more possession. And 4 minutes remaining. Newcastle, they'll be looking to get another try on as Harrigan. He's a decoy, and Godden goes himself.
Rodwell at acting half. McCormick at first. Glanville at second. 40 metres out from the line. Under 4 to go first half. Rodwell around the back for Hagan. Schuster is promoted. Forward pass to O'Davis. Back now for Sargent. Schuster comes inside. Harrigan looks at the line. It's 10 metres away. Schuster, wide ball. McCormick, he should have passed it. He should have passed it to the left. They had numbers galore on the left.
They had 3-on-1. That's greedy play from McCormick. They've still got a hope here. No, they haven't. They're hundreds.
O'Davis. Brunker. Five gone for the Knights.
Well, Robbie McCormack will rue that one. On the last tackle, Matthew Rodwell decides to pick up Hagan. He kicks again for O'Davis. The ball over Bell's head. Cleaned up by the winger, and he's away.
Oh, Bell almost out of the tackle from Big Sargent. 2 minutes and 45 seconds to go. First half as Liddon is tackled. Alton.
West are looking for someone to inspire them. They've been well below their best this first half. Gillespie, he's the man who could do it for them.
Alton doing a lot of dummy half work. Thomas, now Langmack. Cut-out ball for Dimmick. Then off the shoulder of Hill. Fallen on by Willis. 5 tackles gone as Taylor is looked for the kick now. Godden folding back with O'Davis. The latter will take it back to the opposition. Oh, gee, that tackle on O'Davis. It looks suspect from here. Godden. Pulled down desperately by Liddon.
They're falling off tackles, the Maggies. They're just dead set tired.
Herman. Super first half from both wingers for Newcastle. McCormick. Rodwell. Hasn't he been cool? Sargent. Out the back. West come up with it.
Oh, they needed that, the Maggies. They needed that ball. An ordinary pass from Sargent. Linder takes one up, but West, they are tired simply because they've had too much tackling to do. Something like 25, 26 more tackles in their opposition. And it's starting to show. They've just got to hang on now till half-time.
Kyle White. ...106 tackles by the Magpies, 83 by the Knights. Gillespie makes a half break. Thomas, Langmack, they've got the blind side stacked. Farah. 25 out from the line. This is their last. Hill. Fielded nicely back there by the fullback, Godden. O'Davis. Hagan. McCormick. 15 out from their own line, the Knights. Leading by 2 points. Glanville. Brunker. Rodwell. Quality performance by the young number 7 for Newcastle. There's the siren. Jason Alchin will take the ball back to the opposition. Decided for the pass. Found Willis. He's tackled by McCormick. And so the end of the first half. Newcastle coming out of it with 1 try. Another disallowed, controversially. Newcastle leading by 4 points to 2.
Second half, I do have visions of yesterday afternoon. St George did look to be down and out, and they came storming back. The same kind of experience out there for Western Suburbs. I think we might see just the same kind of finish, exciting finish, as we witnessed yesterday afternoon.
There's the forward tackle count. Thomas topping for Wests, Harrigan for Newcastle. Thomas playing. The backs. And Hill 7 for West. That's a good effort out in the centres. Hagan 5 for Newcastle along with O'Davis. And that's quite a high count really for a wingman. Capping a very good first half for Robbie O'Davis, and Jason Taylor finds the line 15 metres away from the Newcastle goal line.
Now, still, I'm not one to question Warren Ryan's tactics, but with Jason Alchin in there at the dummy half position, serving the ball up from that area, really it does take away the Western Suburbs second phase play. Normally a fullback would be sort of drifting around the forwards as they hit it up, looking for a pass into a gap, but there's no one doing that now that Alchin is in there at the dummy half area.
Well, I do think the reasoning behind that is the fact that gives him an extra running forward in Joe Thomas, and that's where he wanted to take Newcastle on and needed to hold them. And of course, Jason Alchin is one of, as Tony Ray pointed out, is one of the better dummy half runners in the game. He thought that maybe that might be where they might catch him with a quick play of the ball. But we probably haven't seen that much running from Joe Thomas in general play. Defensively, he's been very strong.
Settle back now and watch the second half with us and enjoy it. Sargent plays it on the halfway. McCormick, short ball for Harrigan, and they're good yards. 12 of them in all, Tony Ray.
Yeah, Ray, both coaches have coached a lot together, and similar tactics came out of the half-time break. West, Warren Ryan wanted quicker play the balls and better go forward, and John Dora, he suggested from the Newcastle room that they just wanted to keep doing the simple things right, and that might get them home.
Dimmock. First tackle on this set of 6 for Western Suburbs. Linda, pulled down by Harrigan. Now Terry Hill. He's probably the man, along with Langmack, that Newcastle must fear most. Kyle White still on the field in place of Darren Britt. Taylor's kick is a big one down behind O'Davis. O'Davis looking for the 32-metre line, but Farah is there. Godden, the pass is forward.
Got him. Forward pass there.
Well, this is pressure for Newcastle and an opportunity for Western Suburbs now from 30 metres out.
And this isn't what David Waite wanted. Talked about cutting down your errors and playing a simple game. Well, that's not on, and Western Suburbs now, this is about the first time in the match they've had good field position. Tony Ray on the sideline.
There's about to be a change to the Newcastle side. Glenn Miller's going on. David Boyd packed in that scrum with his hand in the air.
Chance for the Magpies. Terry Hill pulled down. That's play on, says the referee.
Well, another brave decision down in that corner. There's the shake of the head from Terry Hill. He felt as though it was a penalty. I thought he dropped the football. I thought it was a good decision. And there's Herman hitting the ball out. Yeah, he's dropped that football cold.
Brunker. Sargent. Miller has gone on, and this man Boyd comes off. Now they run the angles and they pump Harrigan up the centre. 5 gone. The kick for Rodwell. Bell. Well, it's gone over the sideline. I'm just wondering whether Bell actually touched the ball.
I don't know if he tried to. This is going to be interesting. It looks as though... Let's have a look at it. Well, that's unbelievable again. It's gone out from behind him. I don't think it has touched him, so it is a Western Suburbs speed. But a magnificent kick from Rodwell, and it nearly came up with a freakish ending. Unfortunately for Mark Bell, he didn't get a touch of the football.
Had a big game, that touch judge is in good form.
6-4 the scrums to Newcastle. Bell. He's had a lot of work to do, Bell, today, mainly in a defensive mode. Farah now tries to push the pass. Danger for West. Try! Newcastle's Harrigan! No, it's not Harrigan, but it's a try.
I think you'll find it is the number 10 out there for Newcastle. And that will be Paul Harrigan. I think
It's Glenn Miller, number 40.
Glenn Miller, number 40.
Can't he play a tune? He's killed him. He's been on there 5 seconds and he's come up with a try.
Well, you talk about experience out there. I couldn't believe that Andrew Farah tried to pass the football, and the situation was made worse by the next player in Terry Hill trying to keep it alive. There's nothing on there. They're 10 metres out from their own line. There's the second pass going to ground. That put a lot of pressure on Willis. The ball went underneath him, and there's Glenn Miller. Well, he's only been on the field a matter of minutes, and he scored the try. Pretty happy about it too, Paul.
Yeah, and West have picked up where they left off in the first half. Just errors early in the tackle count. This is incredible, and if they're to get beaten today, they don't deserve to be in the semis. Very poor play from Western Suburbs, and a gift for Glenn Miller.
He is in the mood.
Glenn Miller.
Sorry, Paddy, stealing your thunder.
Oh, you got me.
John Schuster. 20 metres in, 18 out, and hits the upright, and no goal. Well, that is not like John Schuster. 8-2 in favour of the Knights.
I spent over 40 years.
That's crucial, that kick, you know. If you're on the opposition, if you're in West Side now and you're 8-2 down instead of 10-2 down, it gives you a bit of heart, you know, that a converted try, you know, and you're still in with a chance. Those extra 2 points that Newcastle could have will give West a bit more hope.
And of course, again, going back to yesterday's match, Ian Heron missed a reasonably easy conversion kick. They got beaten by 2.
Newcastle bringing the ball out from their own try line. And the try scorer Miller to play it. Glanville reaches the 22 line. Mullane, 32 out. McCormick, the play broke down. 5 gone, Tony Ray.
The Newcastle reserve bench was ecstatic with that try from Glenn Miller. It's his 100th appearance in first grade today, and to come up with a try in the Knights' first semi-final, a special moment.
Mark Bell. Willis. The entire passage of play was so unlike a Warren Ryan coach side. Now Bell puts it down. Newcastle gets another opportunity.
Well, it's just a comedy of errors out there for West at the moment. Jason Elchin holding the ball back, letting two players go through. And again, that put pressure on Mark Bell. He was going nowhere, and a couple of defenders coming at him.
Well, he's running into three men. And, you know, West have got to get back to the basics of hitting the ball up, getting Lindner and Gillespie just to take those metres.
Hagan. Newcastle, 32 metres out. 5 tackles remaining. Brunker. 11-5 the handling errors. That's a bad stat for Western Suburbs. To the left from Rodwell for Sargent. Struggles 3 of 1. Draws 2 and gives it to McCormick. 20 metres out. Hagan. Harrigan. He didn't know that he was going to get it.
The difference between Newcastle and West when they make a mistake is the end of the field, that they're committing those errors. Newcastle, well, that wasn't good play there. The pass went to the wrong player, but at least they've committed the error 20 metres out from the opposition's try line, not from their own try line.
He came away from there limping a little bit too, Paul Harrigan. I'll be very surprised if he sees out the match, but he's done a great job for them so far.
Terry Hill. Newcastle with the numbers, though. They had 3 on 2 then. Willis. Linda putting plenty of energy into that run.
That's a better run, but they need a follow-up.
Now Langmack comes into the game. Britt goes on in jumper number 8. Kyle White, his replacement, comes from the field as Taylor finds the line 10 metres out from Newcastle's try line.
In no hurry to get back, Newcastle, and they do have plenty in their favour. Most of all, the clock on the scoreboard. Scrum to be packed 11 metres out from their own line. I think Rodwell shouldn't have any trouble winning this, and there won't be anything fancy from the Newcastle team. Herman coming in off the wing, making good ground. We'll see some one-out running here and some dummy half work. That's a simple... Oh, well, here's a mistake made by Schuster and a chance for West.
They'll spread the ball quickly, I would imagine. Hill it is.
Well, they must go right now. They've got a good line there, too, if they can fill in.
Push ball to the right is on. Farah. Well, that chance is now gone. Thomas away for Brett. They've taken 3 one-out plays. Now Taylor. Bombarded by Mullane and Glanville. The Magpies trailing by 6. Langmack. Hill goes inside. Tries to go through the gap.
Well, Taylor has called his players to the right. He might look to run this football, even though a slow play the ball has allowed Newcastle to get set.
Taylor with a long ball. 20 metres for Linda. Then Liddon.
Forward pass.
Referee McCallum ordering a turnover.
Well, again, a breakdown in communication there from West. The player had run inside. Darren Willis looking for the inside ball. Linda didn't realise that, and all the pressure was off. I don't think we'll see a mistake made by Newcastle, similar to the one Schuster made only moments ago.
Brunker. Right on his own quarter-way line. Herman's performance today has been full of class. This is Harrigan. Hagan. That's Glanville. Yes! Schuster! Oh, great tackle from behind by Farah. 5 gone, 40 out.
They'll run this one. They've got Bell in 2 minds.
Rodwell inside. Miller kicks. Elchin cleans up.
Well, that is superb play from Newcastle. They grinded their way out of their own 22. Mistake-free stuff. Got a great ball away to John Schuster and finally decided to run the football on the last. Got the kick in when it had broken down. They went the full length.
Darren Britt. 8-2 in favour of the Knights. Joe Thomas.
And
Langmack.
Michael Hagan is a very good field goal kicker, Ray.
Good pass by Langmack for Demick. Right on the halfway mark. Taylor on the last. Runs the ball, then puts it down. Play on for Mullane.
Very surprised at Taylor's indecision there. There was only one decision to make because he had no support left or right. They were all in front of him. And there was good pressure from a Newcastle player, but he had ample time to put a kick in, decided to run it.
Herman. McCormack. Harrigan. Anthony Butterfield in 41 to come on for Newcastle. Glanville. Round the back. Godden. Godden! Godden! Yes! Try! No double movement for mine. The Knights! 12-2.
Well, I don't know if that's wrapped the game up with 25 minutes to go, but it's gone a long way towards doing so. 12-2, a kick to come. And Brad Godden, well, he's gone straight up the middle of this Western Suburbs team. We talk about the youngsters coming into the Knights this year. He's one of their best. Mark Glanville took the ball forward, bumped off a couple of players, got a great pass back to Godden. There's Liddon falling off, Taylor falling off. He carries, the fullback in Jason Elchin and Darren Willis over the try line with him. That's a great try.
Yeah, great pass from Glanville. He's having an absolute stormer as Glanville. And Godden got through some weak defence there by Liddon. And away he went, set his sights on the line, and just his momentum carried him over. Happy days for the Newcastle Knights. 12-2, and Schuster, he won't miss this one.
3 tries for the day as Schuster converts. And it's now 14 points to 2 in favour of the Newcastle Knights. Mark Sargent, which reminds me of Jack Newton, the great golfer. He's the #1 badge holder at Newcastle. And as you know, he had that tragic accident many years ago. He lost an eye. And Jack's here today, and he said to me, have a look at this. He took his sunglasses off, and he's got the insignia of the Knights painted on the glass eye. Robbie O'Davis. McCormack. Miller.
I mentioned at the beginning of the telecast, Ray, that the backlines were underestimated, and I do think that a lot of people underestimate the skill level of this Newcastle team. They're not just a team that relies on their forwards. And Mark Glanville, the back rower, here he is hitting the ball up. He is a class player, and he can use the football. We saw evidence of that then. But the likes of O'Davis, Godden, Hagan, of course, is very skillful. And this man, Matthew Rodwell, who's had his kick charged down, he's had a great season. They've lost the ball. Chance for West. Now it's going to be a penalty to Newcastle.
Dimick is a mile offside, Peter. Number 6 for Western Suburbs was a mile offside. Watch it again. There's Dimick offside. The charge down, happening 5 metres down the ground, in fact, and then he comes into the play. Bad mistake by Newcastle. Jim Dimick thinks about what happened to him. Mark Bell makes the halfway mark. Thomas, Taylor, Liddon, can he promote it? Shut down there by Miller over the top. Hagan underneath, Thomas away for Taylor. Langmack's got the numbers. Out to Hill. Now it's gone over the shoulder of Willis.
There's a real sense of urgency in Western Suburbs out there now, and all Terry Hill had to do was catch and pass that ball. He didn't have to try and beat the player. Darren Willis outside him has got tremendous speed. Good work from the inside players. Langmack finally getting involved. I thought the pass should have been thrown before getting to the defender.
Hagan. This is Godden. Right on that halfway line.
Paul Vaughan, that last movement from Western Suburbs showed how I think they've got to play the football. They've got to get Jason Taylor and Paul Langmack involved, bringing people off his shoulders.
Yeah, Anthony Butterfield gives the penalty. The referee deemed that he had a marker.
Yeah, this is bad play by Butterfield. Just got on there, and he thought the markers weren't standing front on. We'll have a look. Butterfield taps it forward there, and he's right, because that player there, Liddon, wasn't standing front on, so I think he's been hard done by. But yes, Western Suburbs, I think it's a situation for them. All they've got to do is control this football. If they don't, they'll continue to play the way they are. If they control it, there are holes there for them to run into.
Terry Hill, centre of the ground, 22 metres out. First tackle, Taylor, Britt. Britt striding ahead. Britt is 10 metres out. Stampeding run by Britt. Now they go from left to right and come back left. Langmack for Farah. Ball has been lost. Penalty goes to Western Suburbs.
He's got him for knocking the ball out of Farah's hand. So this is a penalty to West. Another 6 tackles for them. Langmack, quick tap.
Taylor. Taylor. 8 metres away from the line. Thomas. Langmack. Dimmick. Forward pass. Scrum to go down. 8 metres away from the Newcastle line.
Well, the last time I saw this many mistakes was in my algebra exam, 1975. West have just made a million of them, and they're going to cost themselves the game.
Was there a tiny knock on at the scrum base from Matthew Rodwell? Schuster. "15 handling errors against 7. Miller plays it. McCormick. Glanville. It doesn't matter what match you come to watch. When Newcastle is involved, Mark Glanville always throws in more than he has to. The kick is perfect. 14-2 in favour of the Knights. Six for scrums. Farah fading across the ground. Schuster the tackler. Willis is with the ball. In fact, it's Hill. Now Dimmick. "17.5 minutes to go. Langmack. Linda. Banged into the ground by Newcastle's Harrigan. Help from Glanville. Taylor's with it. Short ball trying to put Liddon through the hole. 5 gone for the black and whites. Langmack across for Gillespie. Floated pass. Schuster comes up with the intercept. Rodwell gives it to O'Davis. Monstered then by Farah. Sargent. Able to promote. Rodwell for Butterfield. Harrigan. Hand off for McCormick. Western not putting the man with the ball down.
No, and I would be working to the post here without any doubt. Michael Hagan, as I mentioned earlier, a very good drop kicker of the ball.
Well, I can see John Schuster coming now in behind the ruck. He could be the man to put one in. 15-2 would be a very handy lead.
Well, here it comes now. It'll go back to Schuster.
Ball fed back to the New Zealander. Charged down by Bell. And it comes back for 6 more for the Knights. Rodwell. His kicking game His distribution game has been first class for a boy that is really a rookie. McCormack to Rodwell.
Well, I'd kick now. I'd take the field goal now. Don't wait till the last. It's Hagan this time that's slotting in behind.
McCormack goes across and throws the dummy. 5 metres from the line. Now the kick. Hagan, a mile of time to prepare. He reached the harvest of the drop goal. 1 point and 15-2 for Newcastle.
Reached the harvest. Does that mean he kicked it? 15-2. It's a great lead for the Knights. And West just aren't going good enough to win this match. To blame. I can't see them coming back like St George did yesterday.
And again, Paul, we come back to the mistake made by West on the last tackle. David Gillespie throwing the intercept, taken by John Schuster. They had to kick the football on the last. They didn't get in a position to do it, and they turned over possession inside their own half.
Yeah, Pete, we saw West put, 1 or 2 runarounds on in the first half, and they were successful. Haven't seen one since.
No, we haven't seen much of Paul Langmack, as you say. Tony Ray, a disappointing performance from Western Suburbs. That might be the final nail. The field goal from Hagan as Brad Godden's away up the middle.
Godden crosses the halfway. Ridden into the ground eventually by Farah.
Yeah, Peter.
McCormack minus the headgear gives it to Schuster. Winners on, Gillespie is off. Hagan away for Sargent. Out the back for Butterfield. Fends off a would-be tackle, takes it to the 32. Hagan. 5th tackle just outside the West 22. Rodwell. Rodwell goes to the air. Bell gets under. No! Davis! Magnificent stuff! His second try!
Great work by Newcastle, Sterlo. They're just doing everything right. West are shattered. They're gone. Newcastle, happy as you like. But that's a magnificent kick by Rodwell. And O'Davis, he's nearly been the man of the match. He's been in everything. The first half was all his. And he's a happy man as well. Went up for that ball and just about stole it out of Mark Bell's arms. 19-2 the score. 5th tackle, Rodwell put the one up. And Bell's under all sorts of pressure. O'Davis left up better for it. Bell didn't leave the ground. And that's a fantastic try to the Knights.
And the second try to Robbie O'Davis. They both come from kicks. The first one, a perfectly weighted one off his own boot. That one off Matthew Rodwell. And when you kick to a player in defence who is standing still, you are always a chance of climbing higher. You can get that momentum, and O'Davis had plenty of that. He's got the good haircut too, that's for streamlining. And Western Suburbs, well, it's all over now. 12 minutes to go, 19-2. John Schuster with his conversion attempt. You can see Graham win the replacement there. The look says it all in the middle of the picture.
Veteran of many battles with the great St George club, Graham Wynn. Probably playing his last game in top-grade rugby league here today.
Doing some party tricks with that mouth guard too.
Schuster, 10 metres in from touch on the 22 line. 19-2, 12 minutes to go. That looks okay. Flags go up. 2 further points for the Knights. 21 points to 2. 68th minute. Tony Ray.
There's about to be a couple of replacements made for Western Suburbs. Ray, you'll be happy to hear that Chris Warren's gone on for Joe Thomas, and Damien McGarry's about to take part also. I feel a bit sorry for West today. Newcastle have played sensationally, put a lot of pressure on them. Midway through that second half, West decided they had to chance a few passes because of the pressure that Newcastle exerted. Jason Taylor's the guy leaving the field for McGarry, and unfortunately they've come up with a couple of mistakes. It could have gone either way. I thought they pushed the passes too early in the second half. Maybe if they'd have controlled it, they could have come up with some points like St George did late yesterday, but it wasn't to be.
The replacements made there by Western Suburbs. I wouldn't be surprised, Ray, if we see Paul Harrigan and probably Matthew Rodwell given a rest. I know that they'd like to be out there, but if there has been injury clouds over them, Mark Sargent again makes a great run up to halfway. You'd probably be looking to get them off and put them in cotton wool for the week.
Rodwell charged down. Elchin was the man responsible. Godden's able to evade him. Terry Hill makes the tackle.
Ray, do you know much about this Chris Warren?
Only that he turned 22 last Monday.
And he's your son. He's got a better head than you, I'll give you the tip.
A rather historic day, I suppose. I can't recall a commentator having to call his own. And I can assure you it's not easy when you're 21-2 behind. Harrigan goes up. McCormick spreads it. Rodwell knocks on. Scrum will go down midway, 22 halfway. Newcastle's end of the ground. So Warren is on for Thomas. And Gary has also gone onto the field for Western Suburbs. Penalty against Newcastle's backs for getting inside the 5 at the scrum. Elchin. This is Dimmick. Britt. Interesting to note that the hooker now for West Warren and the fullback Elchin, Cousins, in this semi-final in the dying minutes. Farah juggling.
Well, there you go. That's been the story for West all day. And now a penalty to Newcastle. Graham Wynn involved there somewhere, giving away the penalty, and Newcastle a relieving penalty for them.
We're 8 3/4 minutes out from full time. Newcastle to play St George. Western Suburbs bowing out.
Been a great performance today by Matthew Rodwell in particular. We were up at Newcastle last week, Rabs, and we saw him get actually carried off on a stretcher off the field with a bad ankle, and he's come out today and he's had a fine game, controlled their kicking game. His passing game's been good. And whilst he's probably been hampered in his running game, you know, he's been instrumental in their win.
Harrigan goes up. Wynn and Warren making the tackle 40 metres out. Glenn Miller doing some dancing. 3 metres away from the halfway line. There'll be great jubilation in Newcastle right now and again tonight. Good luck to them. Came into the competition in 1988. Drawn some tremendous crowds. Butterfield is pulled down now.
Right, it is interesting to note that since 1982, I think we've had 5 new teams come into the competition. Again, a mistake made by Matthew Rodwell. And those 5 teams have now gone on to represent in semi-final football at the Winfield Cup. So the league have done a marvellous job. It's certainly been justified by the performances
over Newcastle. Reserve grade. That was a victory for Balmain, 14-12. Sargent.
There's a replacement made. Paul Harrigan leaving the field.
Rodwell giving it to Hagan. The pass was forward, though, to Glenn Miller.
And David Boyd is the man going back on for Newcastle. It's a great performance by Paul Harrigan. Took a little while to warm into the match. He took the ball up with great gusto. Got away some good balls, and his defensive gain was first class.
Scrum won by Wests. Dimmick. McGarry's with the ball now. Graham Wynn. "12 metres the Magpies end of the ground. Elchin, Langmack, infield for Hill. There's that reserve grade score. Balmain by 2 over Wests. Darren Britt. Elchin at first receiver. Langmack On the bounce, it's picked up by Farah. Given to Mark Bell. Into space. McGarry, he puts it down. Herman can't handle. Alchin comes up with it. Knock-ons against both.
Well, not surprising here, I suppose, for Western Suburbs. Final pass going astray, as it has done so much this afternoon. Good work by Mark Bell to get away down the left-hand side of the field. There's one of the other wingers, Tony Herman, who's had a marvellous game for Newcastle as well. Both the wingers have been absolutely outstanding for the Knights. They've gone looking for the football. Davis has scored 2 tries, of course, and defensively they've worked hard. They really have made a major contribution to this win.
11-8 the scrums to Newcastle. Schuster gets away. Hagen for Brunker. Passes to nobody. Finishes up with it himself. Back on their own quarter. Played by Herman. McCormick now. This is Butterfield.
It's been not just a contest on the field today, Ray. It's been a contest off the field between 2 coaches, David Waite, Warren Ryan. A few words said between them during the week. Of course, Waite is a Ryan disciple, and he's had the last laugh today. And he's gone home a victor. And Warren Ryan left to ponder what could have been and get ready for next year.
Willis folding back. McGarry's turn for a dummy half run. 22 away from their own line. 3.5 minutes to go. Warren takes it away. Pulled down by Sargent.
Now looking at next week, of course, Ray, Western Suburbs bowing out as Liddon is tackled on the fringe of the ruck. The Knights go on to meet St George. And they will be very, very stiff opposition for the St George team, who many people thought would be the ones to go through to take on Brisbane in the grand final. Matthew Rodwell bringing the ball back. That should be another marvellous contest. Some big forwards on both sides and plenty of skill.
Hagen, short pass for Sargent. They're 40 metres away. 21 points to 2 in favour of the Knights. Glanville, pulled down by Warren. McCormick. Boyd. Glenn Miller. Held up the top by Langmack. 5 gone for the Knights. Will Rodwell grab a kick or what? No, they put a play on. Hagen puts it over the line. Oh, the bounce was awful.
Now he's offside.
There's a penalty to West.
Yeah, good decision. It was a well-worked move by Newcastle, but the timing was wrong from John Schuster. They did the second man play. The kick was always going to go over. There's Schuster about a metre offside. They got the good bounce at the end of it. But there's no doubt that was a good decision. Not that it's going to have any great bearing on the result.
Darren Britt. McGarry. Now they come the blind through Bob Linder.
Well, at least Bob Linder's got through this match. He's proved his fitness. We've got an Australian game coming up in a month's time against the arch-enemy Great Britain at Wembley. Linder, one of the strike players, as West finds some space out wide, but good covering by Brunker. Holds that, and Linder, he'll be one of the first men picked in that side.
Away from Langmack, out to Alchin. Now it's with McGarry. Oh, bone-shattering tackle by Sargent. You could feel that in the top deck of the stand. Warren for Langmack, Langmack away. Liddon puts it down, Langmack scoops it up. Warren's with the ball, decides to put it on the boot on the last.
Settle down, Rebs. No, he's gone very well, your son. He's player of the future, is he?
O'Davis to play it now. 21-2. Newcastle leading. 30 seconds of the game to go. You people in the Novocastrian city, good luck to you. Tremendous performance in a short space of time. Seconds ticking away.
And just a couple of dummy half runs here to finish the game. Robbie McCormick scoots out, beats a couple of players. Be about the last play of the game.
The crowd counts down the last seconds of the game. Newcastle advance in 1992. Exit the Magpies. O'Davis got 2 tries. Miller and Godden got a try. Schuster kicked 2 from 4. Hagan kicked a field goal to make their 21 points. And Jason Taylor, a penalty goal for Western Suburbs. Tony Ray is on the sideline with Paul Harrigan.
Very happy Paul Harrigan. Not as many people as last time he played at the stadium, but still a very special feeling, Paul.
It is, yeah. The stadium's a great ground as far as I'm concerned. It's always been great games. But, you know, one of our best efforts this year and a great time to do it too.
It's always going to be a tough game up front. We had to come up with a big game. How did you see the forward clash?
Forward clash is what we expected. You know, it was very tough, but I think the big factor for us was the new dimensions as far as our backs are concerned. And Robbie Davis and some of our backs had tremendous games today, and it really did make the difference.
How did the leg pull up?
Yeah, the leg caught me a few times out there, but I didn't restrain it, and obviously the time next week comes, I should be near 100%.
We're very proud of your efforts. Thanks very much, Paul.
Thanks very much. Appreciate it.
Well, a great win for the Newcastle Knights, 21-2 over the Western Suburbs Magpies. I think most of us may have thought that the Knights may have got away with the game, but not as comprehensively as they did. 21-2 in a semi-final, that's a belting. And the Western Suburbs Magpies, they can look forward to season 1993, where the Knights will face St George this coming Saturday. Of course, everyone in the dressing room after was quite ecstatic, none more so than their coach David Waite, and he was wrapped in the players' performances.
Yeah, the first time at the semi-final cauldron and the pressure. Each week the pressure will get bigger on them, and today I thought they handled it with consummate ease, and that tells you that they are class rugby league players, because not everybody can play well at the Sydney Football Stadium when the pressure's on.
You've always said through this season that football these days is a 15 to 17 man game. That proved true today.
Absolutely, and my hat went off to the bench today, the players that went on, and those like Timmy Madison, who played in reserve grade yesterday, 21s today, and actually stood by for first grade today. They're the heart and soul of your football team and your club.
One of the things that I was impressed with today, that at times the team very well could have panicked. They didn't panic.
Yeah, well, there was some times that I thought they did a little bit. I thought they played some brilliant football. I also thought they played some what I call puerile moments, and we have to work very hard to eliminate those to become genuine contenders.
David Waite there with high praise for the whole 15 players that took the field for the Newcastle Knights, but he's realistic enough to realise that the job's only half done, and this Saturday against St George is going to be another battle. Just a reminder, NBN will bring you the St George Newcastle Knights clash live from the Sydney Football Stadium on Saturday, beginning at 3 o'clock. And then on Sunday, the major semi-final between Brisbane and the Illawarra Steelers. You will see a full 2-hour replay from 5:30 to 7:30 on Sunday night. Hope you enjoyed our replay of the Knights Western Suburbs clash. I'm Mike Ribbett. On behalf of all the crew, I bid you a very good evening.